Hello everyone and welcome to Shauna Stitches, episode number 27. Today is November 18th, 2017. And I just want to say thank you to new and returning viewers. I appreciate you checking out my podcast. In case you didn't notice, you'd ever watched me before, I do not always sound like this. I kind of have a Kermit the Frog thing going on today. I have a cold and I thought about not podcasting. In fact, I feel pretty crummy, but not as bad as yesterday. It's been 3 weeks since I put my last podcast out, so I just decided to suck it up and let's just do this. So I apologize for any coughing, sniffles. If it's really bad, I'll try and edit it out, although that's not a great specialty of mine. Anyway, let's get started. So I have 2.5 finished objects, I guess. It's not a hoe. I'm just calling it 2.5 finished objects. So we'll start with the easiest one first. That is my Country Roads sock. There you can see the cable detail that runs all along the outside of the leg. And I do have 2 of these. The pattern is written so that the cable runs along the outside of each sock. And this is a pattern by Lily of Nordic Stitches. And what else do I want to say about it? Oh, so I'm calling these my Christmas Country Roads. I overdyed this yarn myself. It was my second yarn dyeing experiment ever. It's a Ice Yarns mini sock, normal sock yarn, that I overdyed to include pops of red. And I had no idea how that was going to turn out. Actually, I think it turned out pretty well, other than it's not terribly equal per sock, if that makes sense. Like, different spots, like this one's heavier, you see around the heel, this one gets heavier around the toe. But you know, I'm not picky about that at all. I think it turned out well, and considering the fact that I didn't have any Christmas yarn or anything red at all in my stash, I'm happy with it how it came out. Here's what I have left of the yarn. The socks themselves took about almost 80 grams. I weighed it and it was like 79. And that's because I like a really long leg and I don't have terribly small feet. So if I remember right, it was 18 repeats for the leg and again 18 repeats for the foot. Let's see if I can find it here for you. So I did pretty good on the cables. If you notice here, I screwed up once. It's really harder for me to see on the camera, but right there, that cable takes a wrong turn, but not very noticeable, especially it's in the black section or dark green. Where the green mixed with the red, it turned black. Anyway, I really liked knitting these up. One day I will listen to my own advice, which is I feel like I probably should have gone up to a 2.5 millimeter needle. I knit those on 2.25s, just because, you know, I thought it's got ribbing on each side of the cable, so I figured, oh, that'll make up for the tightness of the cable, because I know cables tighten things. And I can get them on, it's not a problem. They're just a little snug. They'll stretch out. It's not the end of the world. The other thing I did differently that I've never done before is this garter stitch heel. I literally just used the Fish Lips Kiss heel and changed it to garter. After doing the heel, I read online that you should actually reduce the number of stitches you have here from the regular pattern. But I knit this exactly as the pattern said, just in garter, so knit everything. I didn't purl anything. It was really fast. I liked that, but I don't think I'll be doing it again. Granted, I haven't worn these. I may end up loving it. It fits my foot fine. What I'm concerned about is because garter's so stretchy, and I don't think you'll be able to see that. Let me see if I can put my hand in here and you'll see what I mean. I feel like it's not too thick on my heel, even though it's thick and squishy. I know, I'm not seeing what I could see on my foot, but it's like, yeah, there you go. You can see some light through there. So I just felt like it was kind of not as solid as just because of the squishiness of the garter, I think. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, back to the overdying. So I had just schemed these up loosely and put the red food coloring in. In retrospect, I would have done a lot more drops of food coloring. I think I did like 20, and I'm not sure how many cups of water. but to make it more saturated red, like a more solid red, because some of it turns out kind of pink, which again, doesn't bother me at all, but you can see some of the speckles are more red, some are more pink. It's totally okay with me. I have Christmas socks done. Yay, that's my, I think, 13th pair in my box of socks, and very likely my last pair. It's either 13 or 14. I know I have 12 already. I'm drinking coffee out of my I love coffee mug. That's love and mug put together, if you didn't know, lug. And I have this, it has a knitted cable look to it and knitted stitches, which I really like. All right, so that was my first finished object. My second finished object also looks pretty ridiculous until I actually have them on. This pattern here is called the November Fingerless Mitts. I have worn these a time or two, so they look a little stretched out, I guess, in spots. But it's a free pattern, but it's a 2x2 rib, and it calls for worsted weight, which I don't have in my stash. So I did 2 strands of fingering, which is the first time I've ever put strands together to make a specific weight of yarn, and I think it worked well. I have really small hands, not that you can tell here, but literally this is a random fact, but I'm going to share it anyways. As an adult, I think, or maybe a much older teenager, I found a tracing of my hand that I'd done in like 6th grade, and my hands are literally the same size they were in 6th grade. And I'm like, you know, at least a foot taller or something. Anyway, these are the Fingerless Mitts. They fit really well because it's all ribbing. It snugs up to your hand. I didn't have to deal with a thumb gusset at all, which is quite nice. And because of that, these will fit on either hand. It doesn't matter. Just throw them on. Not a lot of thought process to it. I knit these a little bit taller here, just because I wanted as much of my finger covered as possible, and I could have done a few more rows, but I was pretty over it by the time I got to that point. I've never knit fingers before, and this was quite fiddly, but I used DPNs. The yarn is Ice Yarn Mini Sock, same type of yarn that I used for the Country Road socks, and yeah, it was really strange. So I pulled from the outside and the inside of the ball at one time. They're 50-gram balls. I think it took a total of 70 grams. And for the most part, I was able to get the colors where they, you know, like pink and purple would be next to each other, or orange and pink, or orange and white. So it wasn't like purple on purple or pink on pink until I started the second one. So this is really weird. I'm going to take it off so I can show you better. I started the second one, and you can see like this really solid color, whereas like on this one here, you don't get a lot of that solid color striping. And the colors, for some reason here, just started to match up, even though I'm pulling from the inside and the outside of the ball, which means the stripes should be going in opposite order. But yeah, no, they were exactly identical. And then I had to join a new ball, like right there. And then you can see I have the more variegated effect. Anyway, like I said, I've worn these once, I think, driving somewhere, driving to work maybe. And it was nice just not to have my hands on that freezing cold steering wheel. Because it is getting cold here in Oregon. I forgot to mention I'm coming to you from the Oregon coast. And it hasn't been freezing yet, but it has been really cold and rainy and wet and just gross. I have a feeling our freezing temperatures are just around the corner, because I think it got down to like 35 last night, and I know it's gotten down to like 34, so it's just right there on the brink. Alright, so for the FO that I'm calling the half FO, which, anyway, I'll just get on with it. I finished my half oracle shawl. I'm going to stand up so you can see this better. There we go. That's almost all of it in the screen there. So I absolutely love this. I love the knit. It was super fast. I love the way the yarns play together. It is gorgeous. These were all Socks That Rock in a fingering weight. I cannot, the maroony colors like Help Me Rhonda. I don't remember what this one's called. And the really variegated one there is Twisted Yarns in Portland. It's their 10-year anniversary color. So the reason this isn't a complete FO, because I was going to wear it for the podcast, is because I didn't weave in my ends yet. In fact, I haven't even tried this on yet, so we'll see if I can manage to do this while I'm filming, because I've never tried this on the go. There we go. Yeah. Anyway, it matches my shirt I'm wearing, even though the colors probably, even though they match, it's kind of weird looking. But yeah, anyway, I think I like it. Like I said, I absolutely love the knit. It was supposed to come out to 47 inches along the top here. I had to aggressively block mine, and it came out to 44 and a half. So, I mean, I know I'm a tight knitter. It's just never mattered in a shawl before, because they're always just so oversized that if mine turns up a little bit small, it's never been a bad thing. For example, my Find Your Fade is a much more easy size to deal with than a lot of people's, because I have a tight tension, and you know, I liked the fabric that I was getting out of this. So the one thing I will say is you can see my brioche is very stretched out. I really didn't have a choice about that. The lace blocked out beautifully. There again, it's brioche, back to lace, brioche again. Just a piece of paper stuck on it. And then the very final lace section, and it was my very first time ever doing an I-cord bind off, which is so pretty. But I do have a question, and I think I followed the directions correctly, and maybe I didn't. And I've never done an I-cord bind off before. So anyway, this is my front side. And can you see all those little colors right there? Because my lace yarn that I used was different colors. So that's the front. And then here's the back, and I don't see that. So I'm thinking I should have done the I-cord bind off on the back side instead of the front side, because I definitely had the front side facing me when I knit it. So I'm thinking I should have just reversed that. But I didn't know, and I thought I followed the directions correctly. It's not that big a deal. And, you know, unless you're looking at it super close, you're never going to see that. But that's something I noticed. I do like the brioche when it's not so stretched out. And, yeah, I hope I'll wear this. I think it would be really nice for just this kind of shawl. And I'll be honest, I have never worn a shawl like this. But, yeah. You see that? There you go. It's a nice size. And I love the colors. So, yeah. I think I'll just wear it like this for a little bit. Anyway, I do wish it would have turned out bigger. I was really kind of down when I first finished it, because before blocking, I tried to put it around my neck, and it just barely closed. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I don't have a huge neck. So, yeah. Anyway, it did stretch out a lot. It's beautiful. I would knit it again, definitely, but I would use a bigger needle size. Maybe even swatch for it, but that's asking for a lot, because I don't normally swatch, so. All right. Now I have one whip to show you. And this is a blast from the past. I'm really excited about it. It's funny how kind of like your interest comes and goes on projects, and this is a very long-term project, so that's what happens. But my Cozy Memories is black. It's back. So let's see. I picked this up the other day and literally had to make myself put it down. So I knit this square, which you'll notice is the same as my Fingerless Mitts. This was just an old sock yarn, I believe. Well, they're all sock yarns, but I think I made socks out of this. Excuse me. I made socks out of this. This one for sure is socks that are in my 2017 box of socks. This one is Blue Moon Fiber Arts in the Sunset like Coastal Sunset colorway, and I ran out of it, so I had to put some of my Swamp Monster sock yarn that I dyed myself to finish it off. And I think it goes okay. There's a lot of green in this. I wish I would have had more of it. I just didn't. This is also a pair of socks I did in my 2017 box. I know this is Patton's Croix Sweet Stripes. So I did those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5. And then I did these 3. So I did 8 squares this week, which is really fantastic for me. I don't remember what I used this for at all. I'm sure it's socks, but I don't remember what pair. This one is Witch Candy Yarns in the Lily Pulitzer colorway, which, trust me, that recording is not doing it justice. It just has these beautiful pops of green. It's so pretty. And this one here is a Ice Yarns mini sock color, or not mini sock, it's Ice Yarns Magic sock. I can't remember what type it is. They only have a couple. So this was a colorway I think I used last year, could be this year, orange, pink, and it had some green, which I didn't get to. So like I said, I had to make myself put this down because I've just been enjoying this so much. Again, I know I'll lose steam on it, but yeah, that happens. It's a very long-term project. I don't even have a year planned when it might be finished, but I just enjoy being able to use up my scraps and put them in there. My second work in progress is Glenn's blazer socks. I've just gotten past the heel on. This is sock number 1. Has to be done by his birthday, November 29th. And this has been a secret knit so far. And I got some, I mean, I guess it's good news, but it's bad news for secret knitting, is that he is off all this week for Thanksgiving. And I am not off all this week for Thanksgiving. So I think I'm going to have to make this an unsecret project and just knit it in front of him, because I don't feel like it's going to, I feel like I'll be lucky to get 1 sock done by the 29th, let alone 2. So I know I'm a fast knitter. This is going to be my focus. Hopefully I can get them done. I did just, excuse me, I did a regular Fish Lips Kiss heel on this one. Nothing special there. I am using contrasting yarns for the cuff, heel, and toe. It's a, I want to say it's a Knit Picks yarn, but it could be Cascade Heritage. I don't remember, but it's knitting up wonderfully. I feel like I'm going to have a lot of yarn left over because, I mean, his feet are big for sure, but that's a lot still. Feels like a full cake. So that is that. So I knit all of his socks on a 2.5 millimeter needle, 72 stitches. And I have this crazy idea, and I'm sure you'll think it's crazy when you hear it, of trying knitting his socks on a 2.25 so that the gauge will be tighter, and doing 80 stitches instead of 72. Because you can see this, like, I don't think the gauge is bad. But it is, I mean, of course it's looser than my socks because it's a 2.5. And I know there's other podcasters who knit on a 2.5. And I'm a tight knitter, so it should be fine. I really don't want to do 80 stitches per round. That's a lot. I don't know. I might give it a try, but I might also not give it a try. I've also been tempted to knit my socks on a 2.5 and just do less stitches because it's less stitches. And I like a really long cuff. I use 90 rounds for a cuff usually. I don't know. Maybe I'll try that on my next pair. Who knows? So as I said in the last podcast, if you were watching, Glenn's socks are going to be knit out of this. It is Patton's Croix in the Clover colors, which isn't totally Christmassy, but you can make it Christmassy. So I was going to do the Country Roads pattern on his as well. And after trying mine on and finding them to be a bit tight, I'm having second thoughts about that. I just bought all of the, I guess we'll kind of go into acquisitions now. I just bought all of Mina's patterns for 2018, and it came with a bonus Christmas pattern for this year, which I think was called Mistletoe. I'm totally making that up. I might be really wrong. If I am, I'll put it here. Anyhow, I'm thinking of doing that pattern for these, but it looked like it would be much better for a self-striping yarn, and this isn't really self-striping, so I don't know what to do with for his socks now. I really want him to have a pair of Christmas socks, so yeah. Anyway, we'll see. Alrighty. Other acquisitions. You guys, I know you all know about this already, but I'm just going to say how amazing it is. The Lolo bar. I went to the local yarn shop that's localist to me down in Cannon Beach, and they had these, and this one is the Little Pumpkin scent. Oh my god, it smells so good, and I'm amazed the fact that I can use that and it doesn't feel like my yarn drags over my hands when I'm using it. Yeah, it's really nice, and it feels like it makes a big difference in the texture of my hands and like softness of my hands. I haven't put it on today, and I have extremely dry hands. I'm sure everyone wanted to see that, right? Anyway, I should use it more often than I do, but when I do use it, it's amazing, and I love that Little Pumpkin scent. It's, I mean, you think like pumpkin spice latte kind of smell, but what I smell the most out of it is the cinnamon. It smells really good. And I was good. I did not buy any more yarn while I was there, but I did buy 2 different types of stitch markers. Oops. The locking type and just the round type. So that circle there, although you can't really tell on screen, but that's the size that the rings are. So you can see they're little itty bitty ones. Because, you know, that's what I mostly do is sock knitting. So for me, those are perfect for socks. I also used them when I was knitting this shawl, and I did do the stitch marker every lace repeat until it got to the really long one, because I don't have that many stitch markers. It was a lot. So yeah, and then you see the locking type. Yeah, so I'm thinking about next time I go back there getting the larger size too, just because sometimes I do knit bigger things, sweaters and whatnot, and I think there's 60. Yeah, 60 of each type in the little box. And I paid $10 each, so I think it's a really good deal. And, you know, of course, we always lose these things. It's nice to have extras. One last acquisition that I can think of was a gift. And it was a very generous gift. So Lily of Nordic Stitches, who I know you've heard me talk about a lot lately, she has a Frozen Mystery Cowl knit along coming up. And she gifted me the pattern, and she gifted a pattern for me to give away to you guys. So I'm really excited about that. It's for 2 colors. I went looking through my stash, and I found 2 colors that I thought would be nice. She gives specific, not really specific, but she gives some guidelines to like how to pick your yarn, and she's saying one should be tonal, and if you do a speckle, then that can be one of the other colors, but that you don't want them both to be speckled. So you can see like this one has some purpley colors. This has like pops of like a pinky purple. This one here is Happy Feet 100 Splash by Plymouth Yarn Company in the blueberry color. And I've had this in my stash. This is literally one of the first sock yarns I ever bought. It was, they had a shop in Seaside, Oregon, and they were going out of business. And so I just happen to have 2 of these because I really want one to be socks, but I had 2 of these in my stash. And this yarn, if you've seen some of my older podcasts, is from Knit Picks. And originally I was doing I can't remember the exact name of it, Bluebells shawl by Mina Phillip, and I just wasn't loving the stitch, so recently I ripped this out, and yeah, I'm gonna give it a go in this shawl. And so I have 2 skeins of this as well. For as much yarn as I have, I always I don't, does anyone else feel guilty like using one for a skein of yarn for something and then you think, oh, but it could be this? I don't know, it's probably just me. So yes, if you are interested in winning that pattern, mystery frozen knit along pattern, leave a comment below. Let's see, what do I want you to tell me? Tell me tell me your favorite thing about the Christmas season. If you don't celebrate Christmas, just tell me your favorite thing about winter. So, and then I will pick a random winner. And the pattern, I believe the first pattern section comes out, it's either December 1st or December 3rd. So I will do that drawing, excuse me, prior to that, and probably just like a little separate video, or maybe I'll just contact you and let you know that you've won and how to claim your prize so that you can get going. I hope to stay up with the pattern as it comes out, but no promises, because yeah, I need to get some socks done. Oh, so now I guess we're just going to talk. Well, this is still like yarny stuff to talk about, but I've decided I'm going to try and do Vlogmas. And that is brand new to me. I've never vlogged anything. I don't expect it to be like super long episodes or anything, but one of the things I do want to do is I went through my stash of minis, because I have a lot of minis that I purchased from Sock Yarn Swappers and also from Row 1 Yarns. And I picked out 25 that I thought were Christmassy, Christmas themed, and I put them into this plastic jar. So you can see it's a lot of reds and greens. And I put little labels on them myself for when I did know either the yarn dyer, because these are all indie dyed, yarn dyer and or the yarn color name. So every day of my vlog, I'm going to pick one of these out randomly and knit a square into my Cozy Memories blanket. That's the plan anyway. Work's been pretty crazy, and I just never know exactly what's going to happen. So, you know, it's going to be vlogging as much as I can and doing as much of Vlogmas as I can, as many squares as I can. So if it doesn't come out on a daily basis, I apologize now, but I'm going to do the best that I can. I'm going to take this off really quick and go grab Rudy, my Chihuahua, for those of you who don't know, so I can give you a little update on him, but I'll be right back. Alrighty, we're back. So this is Rudy, for those of you who haven't met him before. He's a sweetheart. He's my Chihuahua. He's about 9 years old. And 2 weeks ago, he had to have knee surgery. Yeah, it was pretty bad. So he just had his stitches out yesterday. He's doing a lot better than he was. Finally putting some weight back on his leg. But anyway, he's been in pain from his left rear knee for, gosh, 2 months maybe. And I took him to the vet the first time, and they told me just to send him home with some pain meds and, you know, hope it got better. And after a month, it wasn't getting any better. So I took him back, and the vet the second time, which was a different vet, told me that his knee was out of place, and it was so badly out of place they couldn't even push it back in. So that was on a Wednesday afternoon, and I got a call from the vet they referred me to that same day, and they're like, we can get you in on Friday morning. And I called into work. I was like, I need the day off, which they gave me, and took Rudy in for surgery. And so for the past 2 weeks, he's been recovering. And, yeah, it's been crazy. So he's finally putting some weight back on it. What we just found out yesterday, I was too sick to go, but Glenn brought him for me to the vet. And the vet told him that they actually had to replace parts of his leg and knee and use like some kind of wire to string it together and hold things in place. So anyway, this is what it looks like now. He's got a shaved leg, and he's got, you can see where the stitches were. So yeah, he's doing way better. I'm happy. They say he's making good progress to be putting weight on it at the 2-week mark. And they expect that it will be at least 2 months before he's fully healed. So, yeah, the things we do for our pets. Anyway, yeah. He handled it pretty well. He's still handling it pretty well, I think. So, yeah. Anyway, if you have a furry baby, give them loves. They deserve it because they love us so much. But, alright guys, I know this is a shorter podcast. My voice made it through, and I'm going to go get to editing this and knitting on some socks because I got lots to do. Now the hard part is, do I work on the blazer socks or do I cast on the Christmas socks? I know what the answer should be, but it may be maybe what I'm not supposed to do. Anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving week if you're in the States, and everybody else, I hope you have a good next week. I'll be seeing you soon for Vlogmas. Bye! I knew I was forgetting something. One last thing, I forgot to give you my yarn stats, right? So I've been not buying yarn for 102 days now. So it's been 102 days since I purchased yarn. I have used 18 skeins out of my stash, and for it to count as a total skein out of my stash, it has to be at least 75% used up. And I've completed 14 projects. So I'm really excited about that, and just wanted to share. So I'm keeping it going strong. It's been really tempting, but as you can see, there is plenty to knit back there. So anyway, again, hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.